Hello, I'm Jacqui. I'm going to go through a work and development order with you. I'm going to explain what it is, what the steps are to process one, what the obligations are, and I'll go through the application form as well. Okay, so firstly, what is a work and development order? Okay, so if a client has fine or debt, it has to be from New South Wales. There are always things that they can do if they can't pay it in full. They can clear a fine with a work and development order if they're eligible. They can ask for an extension of time to pay, ask for a review, pay by instalments or through Centrelink, or have it written off if they are in serious financial, medical or domestic issues or problems. Overdue fines are serious because they can suspend your license. They have the authority to cancel your car registration. They can take money out of your bank account or your wages. They can sell things or they can make you do a community service order. So it's best not to ignore it and get help if you need help. What is a work and development order? It is when a client can do activities to provide credit for their fines. So there's a bunch of activities, and the Friendship Centre is a sponsor to provide counselling. There are other activities as well, but seeing as we only do counselling, that's the only option for our clients. Sometimes if an enforcement action has been taken because of your unpaid fines, such as restrictions on your licence or your car registration, they can be lifted when your WDO starts. But if you have your licence suspended because of driving convictions, then that won't be lifted. Who can get a WDO? Okay, so if they get Centrelink benefits or in financial hardship, have temporary accommodation or are homeless, have an addiction, have a mental illness or intellectual disabilities or cognitive impairments, or they are under 18, any of those circumstances, they can get a WDO. If you can't do a WDO, it's best to ask for help. Probably through legal aid, or in particular, WDO at legal aid is another email they can try. Law Access or Revenue New South Wales. Contact them and see what they can help you with. But we're here about the WDO. So I will now switch to that screen. Right. So what are the steps? Send the name of your client to either me or Andrew. These are our addresses. Let's put that out a bit more. There we go. We will create an application form and a folder on a Google Drive and send you the link. And make sure it has edit access. Okay. You then need to complete the form with the client because there's a lot of information depending on the answers that we need to have. Advise us both when that is ready to be uploaded and when all the documentation is uploaded as well. We will then log into a portal, submit the application, follow up if anything's missing or added required. If it's approved, we will send you the WDO number. You can forward to your client if you want. I'm not sure if that's appropriate or even necessary. And then by the 14th of each month, you need to update the reporting sheet about what sessions they've had. It's on all in the same spreadsheet. I'll go through it. It's this spreadsheet, in fact, and I'll go through it with you. And then we will update the activity log on the WDO portal, for which each client will then receive $50 for every session that they have. That will be taken off their fines and enforcement orders. When the fine has been paid, it automatically closes. If the client finishes their counselling before the fines are paid in full, they must contact Revenue New South Wales to work out what they're going to do next. And you guys need to complete the closing early form and advise either myself or Andrew when that has been completed so that we know to look for it and go and upload that information. Important note, Revenue New South Wales will not backdate any application, and the application cannot be submitted with any missing details. So make sure everything's filled in. And the WDO will start on the day of the application's submission if it's approved. Now, I have heard, and I'm trying to get this confirmed, that if a client has a diagnosis of a mental disorder and they have a mental health care plan and they have a written diagnosis, they can get the total of $1,000 off each month. I will update everybody when I hear more about that. And each time I put in an application, depending on the different answers that have been answered, there may be more information required. I will let you know if that occurs with your client. Okay, here are the checklists. Please check that they are New South Wales fines. It only applies to fines and court orders or penalty notices in New South Wales. Eligibility, they have to be under 18 or have a mental illness or an intellectual disability or cognitive impairment. Serious drug, alcohol, volatile substance addiction. There's some conditions with that. I'll go through that. Acute economic hardship, which is the easiest to prove if they are on a Centrelink benefit. Homelessness, if they are homeless or in temporary accommodation, or if they have exceptional circumstances, and there is a separate form for that, which I'm not going to go through today. Let's have a look. Okay, before I can even open an application, I need to answer these two questions. Can your client afford to pay the fine, or do they possess substantial assets? If the answer is yes, then we cannot proceed with the WDO. Okay, here are the income thresholds. This will be in your application form as well, so you can always get that information there. A single person can earn $2,359 a month or $543 a week before tax. And then it goes through as a single person with 1, 2, 3 or 4 children, a couple, and then a couple with 1, 2 or 3 or 4 children, and then if there's more children or more adults in the household, then you can see what you can add for your income threshold. Okay, let's go to the application. So here again, can they afford to pay? Do they have assets? Then we can put in their name and the rest of this information, personal information. The license date is important and the number. Please, we ask you to upload an image of the license so that we can verify that we haven't mistyped anything. Prefer if you don't use the sponsor address, but there it is if for the Friendship Centre, if they are homeless or have temporary accommodation. I would prefer not to be managing the communications between Revenue New South Wales and the client via me and you on the way. Okay, a few more personal details. Now, this is an important one. Receiving benefits, yes or no? You can see here with the arrows that there's yes and that, and you can easily select which one. CRN number. Once I get that, that often will link to, you know, the license number and any enforcement orders. But please, that will be the Centrelink reference number. I also need to know which benefits they are receiving, can be more than one. And then I need to know what criteria they are applying under. They need, could you please include what the proof of eligibility is, whether it's birth certificate, driver's license, mental health plan, bank statements, wages slips, whatever you have, please describe that in here. Yeah, you can just make that larger if you need more space, and then confirm yes or no that we will, you know, keep this evidence and documentary proof, which is why we're doing it on a Google Drive. Okay, the activity is counselling, type and details. Is this activity ordered by a court? Yes or no? If it's the answer is yes, then they can't get a WDO. That means ordered by a judge in a court. If it's ordered by a corrections officer, then the answer is no. If it is if they have been recommended for drug and alcohol rehab through the court by a judge, they cannot get a WDO. Then you pop in how many hours a month you expect them to do or that they agree to do. You can put it as start date, but it won't take effect until the application is submitted. How will the activity be provided? Only directly. It is possible in the system to use referrals and get other people to provide the services, but the Friendship Centre won't be doing that, at least in the interim, because it requires more paperwork, administration and insurances that we're not prepared to undertake at the moment. If the activities involve working with children, we need more information about working with children checks. I'm expecting that to be a no with our clients. Now, the maximum amount that can be cleared is $1,000 a month, and that would mean 5 sessions a week, every week for the month for them to get that. Unless, of course, I get confirmation that they can get that if they have a mental condition with mental health care plan, etc. Now, on to enforcement orders and payment plans. So, do they authorise Revenue New South Wales to add any new enforcement orders or fines to this current WDO? Do they have an existing payment plan? If yes, do they want to keep that existing payment plan while they're on the WDO? If they don't have an existing payment plan, do they want one to be set up? And that will happen externally to the Friendship Centre. Will they be paying their payment plan themselves or via Centrelink? And then there's more questions to answer further down. Then please list the enforcement order numbers for inclusion in this WDO, or whether they want any in the payment plan or neither. Neither would mean if they're disputing a debt and they don't want any money being contributed towards that, and you would put the order number in there for those. If you leave these blank, then the Revenue New South Wales will allocate the funds accordingly to what their priorities. If there is more than one enforcement order and they want to identify which one doesn't go on the work order, because apparently there has to be at least one that isn't on the work order, please identify it. Otherwise, as a rule, we will put the enforcement order with the smallest amount on it. Usually when I either have a CRN or a license number or at least one enforcement order number, the rest of them, if there's more than one, will come up in the portal. But it is good to have all of this information so it can all line up with the right person. If they plan to pay via Centrelink, okay, if they want to continue their payment plan, they need to say which benefit they want it to come from and how much. The minimum is $11, and that's how much I will put in unless that is changed by the client. They also have to acknowledge this declaration, so please go through that with them and say that they agree. If they are paying it by themselves, then they have to decide whether they are going to do it themselves directly or through an automatic, direct debit. If it's a direct debit, then this bunch of questions need to be answered, including whether it's going to be weekly or fortnightly, or whether the payment amount, what the payment amount is. And again, I'll put in the minimum of $11 without any other information provided. and they have a payment plan declaration they need to acknowledge. Then we need their gross weekly income, how many adults are in the house, how many children, if there is a conflict of interest, and what the details are. They didn't say that a conflict of interest would ultimately nullify them, but they often just want to know that there is one and what it is as a part of the application. Acknowledgement of terms and conditions, and that all the information in this application is correct and true, and all the declarations have been read. They're meant to sign it. Again, please, like we do with their, when they start up with this, that they have understood this and that it has been done verbally on the phone or Zoom or whatever. Your name, their name, the date that you put this through, and then please list any documents that you upload so that we know that we've found that everything is there that we're expecting, that you can upload into that folder. Okay. Next comes the reporting. So each month there'll be a new reporting tab for each month. I will fill in these details here. You just need to fill in from here. So what day, date, start time, stop time, and duration. And the subtotal will update. I've put in, well, there's 3 for the first one, but there's 2 for each other week. And then the total there. And again, we need to keep proof, which is why we're doing this on Google Drive, so that we have this proof that that has happened. If there's nil activity, please explain that as well, or note that, whether you weren't available, they weren't available, or any other reason, and that this information is true and correct. If they finish their counselling before the work and development order or the debts have been paid out, then you need to fill this form in and let Andrew or I or both of us know, so that we know to go in and close it down. So again, this information will be filled out once by me or Andrew. Reasons to close, please choose one of these and then explain any more information there if required or available. And again, names and signatures are required there. So that is it in a nutshell. I'm sure there's going to be more questions. If you have any, please email me. I think I have my email in the steps one. There we go. And Andrew's. So please let me know if you have any questions. I'm sure there'll be some. I have got a 30-page document I can send you. I have brochures. I have other details as well. I think that covers the bulk of it. So let me know if you have any problems.